Well, I'm sure you heard of the latest scandal from Hillary Clinton about the emails using a private email account for all the state Department of State official email, and she supposedly deleted a whole pile of them. But hey, she's nervous. Don't insult the witch. But you know, I can tell you right now, I think the powers that be may want her to be the shoe-in. I hate to say it, but you know, I've been saying it for a while now because despite what thinking people see, a lot of people, she's just popular. They just don't see what she is. But you know, she's got your kids in mind, I'm sure. You know the deal. But you know, I want to talk about the central bank of BABEL. That's exactly what it is. And you know, it's a house of cards that's going to cave. There's so many different things going on that it's like, you know, well, it's actually, that's one of the Illuminati playing cards from the original Steve Jackson, or I think it was playing the game. The original game, the actual original playing cards, I kind of like those because, you know, it was voodoo economics. You know, one of the things we got going on here is, you know, hey, Prozac. That's exactly what's going on. But, you know, it's not going into where it's really needed. It's only going into the too bigs to fail. The more they pump Prozac into the too bigs to fail, the more the actual real, let's call it the real unemployment rate. And, you know, I don't want to just make a statement and say it disagrees with the official numbers. Actually, I don't disagree with the official numbers. The unemployment rate as measured by the government is this. It's the people that have just became off the payrolls of companies and they're seeking work and they are now unemployed, or they're newly unemployed. In other words, the newly unemployed rate is down, but actually what's actually is extremely high is the labor participation rate, especially amongst women. And it's like, you know, they used to say, you know, get all the women into the workforce. Now it's like all the women have been forced out of the workforce because there's no jobs. They've actually been shipped overseas and stuff. And it is not going to matter how much Prozac the central banks pump. The reality is the reality of the situation. And it doesn't matter how they freaking fudge the numbers. Or they don't actually fudge the numbers. What they do is they actually tell you other numbers that have different meaning. They'll tell you they have like a different meaning. In other words, the example I gave you with the unemployment rate. Yeah, the newly unemployed is really what the government is measuring, but the labor participation rate is at an all-time low practically, especially for women. So, you know, this administration is like terrible. Anyway, so, you know, in the meantime, you know, everybody that's on the top is in their gilded cage and they're getting wealthier and wealthier. You know, we see the markets go up, we see the markets go down. I know, like, there's been radical predictions right now that the markets are going to start to crash. You know, I keep going by what George Soros's bet is. And I know he lost his ass on part of that bet, but then again, he's not going to lose. He's not going to lose most of his bet if he's right sometime between now and late 2015 if the markets do crash. But you know, number one indicator that the economy is bad is the commodity prices. In other words, the price of oil, the price of things that we need, and which includes the metals. Silver is an industrial metal too, and that is really why, you know, the economy is bad. But you know, it's in other words, the prices of these things are suppressed for a reason. It's because there's not much demand in the industrial sector, because true industry is not really going very well. That's exactly. There's a slowdown in China. China's actually having their biggest problems in 25 years. There's negative interest rates in Europe. There's going to be negative interest rates everywhere. The debt load on the Japanese government just to service the debt for the interest on the debt is extremely high. If they raise interest rates in the United States, it's going to wind up being the same problem. I don't see if they can, you know. I think, you know, actually, if you look around, you know, really what's selling? Hey, you know, where's the economy so good? Hey, right here, you know, cyanide, arsenic, you know, nitric acid, whatever, you know, nitrous acid, poison, pharmaceutical. Hey, it's doing freaking great, man. You got a disorder. Here you go. You know, Miss Pharmacist over at freaking La La Land is passing out pills. making $150,000 a year, right? So guess what? If you're part of that system, you're doing great. But really, what are you doing for the economy? You're poisoning people and killing them. Who else is doing great? Monsanto. Who else is doing great? People in the the military industrial complex. And where's that being fed from? Prison labor, right? Hey, yeah, we're doing great because we can use these prisoners for like 80 cents an hour to make all our 782 deduce gear and stuff, right? And flak jackets and helmets and everything else, right? Hey, these industries are doing great. Yeah, profitability, huh? And we could sell them to other countries, right? So that's your GDP, That's your GDP. And, actually where it's actually helping original people now. And, today, it's like the silver people are almost like the radical hippies of the 60s were back then. We're like the revolutionaries, man. We may come from all walks of life and be all ages from 800 to 8, but it doesn't matter. We're actually like the hippies of the old, and the establishment's trying to tell us, stop the hippies, stop them silver people. Hey, we can't have that, And I'm going to tell you something else, a little bit of common sense about the dollar, because, it's not the dollar's going to go to oblivion or anything, but, the dollar's been at an all-time, well, not an all-time high, but over 11-year high. And, you looked at it, now it's went down slightly today, but it's at almost 100 on the index. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Now, the markets went up, as soon as somebody predicts the markets are going to crash, they go up. That's what happens, right? But the thing is, when it's this high with 99, it's not going to stay that high relative to other countries forever. What do you think? I mean, I'm not talking it's going to go to oblivion, but it's been down in the 70s on the index before. Why can't it just take another cycle down there again, right? And then how's your silver going to look then? Pretty good. One indication that the economy's not doing good, though, is crude oil. And they'll tell you, we got an oversupply. Well, how come they're not making the money? How come all these... what's going to happen, though? They're not making the money on the most of the what do you call it? The shale oil industry now, which is a major portion of the U.S. and the Australian industries. And, you're wondering, how are those numbers being affected now on the financials? How come they're not showing up on the S&P, which is a large part of the large sector of the economy? Like I said, we got voodoo economics going on. The reason I'm saying that is actually the markets are being held up by what we used to call, nicknamed way back when, which was formed back in the Reagan years, the plunge protection team. But it's not like reality has to catch up. The one thing I know, there's been a lot of speculation on Palladium, too, and I've always been a big advocate of this. Actually, that's not been doing bad over the last several years. I just want to comment on this video. Nobody knows what the hell the Russian stockpiles are. Beware of rumors. I think this is going to do very well. It might shoot up really high. I think it's actually going to go to over the price of gold. But beware of freaking bullshit rumors out there, because nobody, flat out nobody, knows what the Russian stockpiles are. And you know what? You're playing with a bunch of aces. You're playing against a bunch of aces. So, if you make money and you want to trade it for a hard asset, go for it. But, it's like us. We are the ones that are walking in the valley of death. Fear no evil. We are the snake. Do not tread on us. And you can see we have the snakes tattooed on the back of the girl here. And that's exactly how we are. Because, we are the snake. Do not tread on us. Do not tread on us, and we will not fear walking through the valley of death and through the valley of evil. And we will hold this silver till freaking hell comes to high water or whatever it is. But you remember that the one damn thing that's coming up past this is and actually this is where people are actually going into this hog wild with technology. I'm an advocate of technology, I think, mainly for like healing or communication and stuff, but not technology for getting rich. Or just, gizmos to freaking say, oh, I got this or that or whatever the hell it is. But, pretty much this is going to be the thing. The New World Order face, in other words, everybody's going to be barcoded in one way or another. They're doing it just, you don't even need to be chipped today because everybody has a cell phone. They know they can locate you. They can do this. They can do that. They know everything about you because you walk around with that cell phone all the time, right? So pretty much everybody's chipped as it is. People are actually freaking paying for their enslavement, believe it or not. You know, that's one other area you got to watch out for. But, you know, we got things coming up out of left field. Oh, I also want to mention, too, I had some yo-yo copy like 800, almost 800 of my videos. This was a fake channel. You can see my picture up here, and you can see all my videos, blah, 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 blah. These were like videos I did. And, you know, it takes me a long time to do these videos, and you can see these aren't actually my videos. They're like two views, no views, one view. You know, on cars and other things besides silver and how to do things and health and, you know, the kerosene heater. And, you know, it takes me a long time to do these videos, but, you know, it makes me, this is what you know what I call this akin to when they copy this kind of garbage like this. And actually this stuff is now off of there because I had to report like, you know, 8 million freaking copyright claims. There was almost 800 videos this asshole freaking copied of mine and uploaded to the channel with my picture and my name. But you know what this is akin to doing? This is akin to what the Federal Reserve does. They steal from the freaking people at work just by printing money, you know, or electronic methods. You know, removing window crank handles and all that kind of stuff. All these things I had to show people how to do. You know, colloidal silver oil pooling for general health and all these different things I had to do. So, you know, it takes me all this time to do this. And you know what happens? This is exactly how this is, you know, you get this kind of crap. This is akin to what the central banks are doing to people. But, you know, I get this kind of garbage even on, you know, within the airwaves of YouTube. People freaking steal your work left and right. And, you know, I got to watch out for it. But it actually, you know, it's not just a lot of other things going on with, you know, other things, but it's like, you know, you got to watch. You got to watch. And, you know, people are gaming the system and stuff, even on this. You know, even on this. You know, people are not putting out really stuff that's really helping people. I'm actually kind of putting some of this out for psychological reasons, but I want people to really realize exactly what's going on in common sense. Not so much like be a fearmonger, not to be an anti-American person, and not to be an anti-constitutionalist, that's for sure, but actually just get at the meat of the problem and cut it out and cut out the cancers. The cancers actually are reelected every freaking 2 years sometimes or 4 years, and, you know, that's the problem with the people, so maybe they need to be a little more educated and get off their dead ass. Now, the other problem I actually want to bring up, too, where I think this actually be good for the commodities and oil and silver overall. This was actually in Capricata, Italy, a little not too far from Rome, up in the mountains. They had a world record for snow, and we've been talking about this deal on my channel for a while. Actually, I talked about the Adapt 2030 channel, which he posts a lot of stuff on how this works and, you know, why it's happening. But, you know, it looks like every 207 years we go into these mini ice age stuff, like global warming's a bunch of garbage. But it's related to the metals and it's related to oil because this is actually going to put a lot of demand on resources and commodities and fuel. But you know, I want to point out that this was in Italy, and it's so funny how the major media freaking just whitewashes everything, whitewashes and snow washes everything. It's like they're saying, yeah, well, you know, they had a freaking event in the Pyrenees almost about the same as this. We don't know what the world record is, and how do you know if they got more snow in the mountains than they did, you know, than they had in this town? This town had 8.5 feet of snow in 18 hours. So global warming, baby. Global warming. You know, besides all the other stuff happened in Buffalo, snow in Vietnam, Algeria, Saudi Arabia, Sicily, all the 2,000-something records in a week of cold records. And, you know, I know winter's over now, but you know what I mean? You know, it's going to affect our growing and our food production. So Jim Rogers is going to be right about agriculture. And I'm going to tell you another thing. It's going to affect the demand on the commodities and oil, even though voodoo economics is showing you like the oil's going down. Ugh. But you know what? If you look on the balance sheets of the mining companies and stuff like that, they're losing money on things that are necessary for people. They're not selling hula hoops. I mean, you know, if hula hoops went out of business, so fine, you know what I mean? You were going to live, right? No, they're selling commodities you need for everyday freaking materials, you know? Like commodities that need to be going into the snow blowers and snow shovels and stuff to make them run, right? And heat the houses and brace up the roof so they don't cave in, right? You know? And whatever the hell else out there. You know what I'm saying? In other words, they are, you know, they're not making money. The mines are getting clobbered, profitability. So they're still telling you, oh, the price is going to go lower. Yeah, man. Hey, you know, one of these days, you know, one place I wish there would be a sinkhole besides Florida is in Wall Street. Just like, you know, I know Manhattan's on a rock, but, you know, some of the, like, you'd be a sinkhole under Chase Manhattan or something like that. Get that freaking building, you know. See ya. The devil wants you, you know. But, us, we are the ones that are actually walking through the valley of death. Fear no evil. We are the snake. We wear the snake, and do not tread on us, because the way we wear the snake is we're going to keep holding us over, and that's just the way it is. And, it's almost like we're the hippie revolutionaries of the freaking New Age. I mean, what the hell can I tell you, man? But, common sense is, when the dollar's almost at 100 index, at almost 100 index, where the hell do you think it's going to go? I mean, it's not going to go to oblivion, but, it's like I'm not even freaking trying to play the game of the alternative media saying, the dollar's going to die. It ain't going to die. I think it's going to lose clout. I mean, that's also a New World Order plan. And also remember that when you're looking at these numbers in the economy, a lot of it's out of the pharmaceutical yo-yos. It has some arsenic, poison, cyanide. We accept all major credit cards. Hey, man, we got a robust economy freaking pushing freaking drugs for the people. How do you feel today? Do you feel bad? I gotta watch out, man. I gotta watch out I don't have creativity disorder, because the psychologist would say, you have creativity disorder. That's a disorder. Or, what's that new disorder they have, where you have a thing where you try to eat healthy? That means you have some kind of phobia of junk food? Well, you should have a phobia of junk food. I've got a phobia of psychologists, man. Anyway, they're freaking psychiatrists, whatever the hell they are. But anyway, the Gilded Tower is going to be freaking falling. The Babel, the Tower of Babel, the Tower of Central Bank Babel. As a matter of fact, they get victimized by the own freaking crap they create. They create a tide of Prozac around their moat. And the fumes go up and get them. That's really what happens. It's happened throughout the world. That's why I always love reading about the Roman Empire. Man, there were so many honorable people in there that actually kept it going for so long. You don't think it was, believe me, it wasn't corrupt and kept going because it was corrupt. In spite of the corruption, the honorable people kept it going that damn long. But it's interesting how even the smartest and brightest people that thought they freaking had everything figured out, and they were going to fool the people, it's like they met a demise in a way that came back at them that they did not expect. Karma's a bitch. And let's hope we do not elect the bitch. Please don't elect that bitch. Oh, my God, man. If I'm going to vote for a woman, man, it definitely ain't going to be Hillary. Holy shit. God. And it's like, that's why some women are actually voting for, because the males don't like her. Whatever. But, man, I don't know, man. What they're doing? It's like they're creating divides between the males, the females, the races, the strata on the top of society with all the money, and the people that don't have the money, and all this kind of crap. And you know how that works. That pushes to communism and totalitarian control. But it's us against the central bank Babylonian apparatus, the Darth Vader Death Star. And we will fear no evil. We will walk through the valley of death. We don't need the damn Prozac. We don't live in a gilded tower. We don't need arsenic to freaking survive. And we are the New Age hippies. And we wear the snake. Do not tread on us. We will walk through the valley of death. And we will fight them tooth and nail. That's exactly what it is. And, I think reality's finally going to catch up with these assholes in the long run. Because, there's only so much they can fudge those numbers, because the people that are actually the miners for things you actually need are getting clobbered on their profit and loss statements or net income statements. Take a look. Somebody can say, oh, the numbers don't say this, the numbers say that. Yeah, tell me the numbers don't say this. You can tell me the cost of silver is this. And, you know what? Here's a shovel, asshole. Go freaking go get it. Don't tell me how cheap it is, man. Go tell me how cheap it is. That's why I don't like some of these pinheads in offices. It's almost like they think, they're going to freaking pay somebody $1 for like 24 hours of freaking hard labor. Because, they're a genius. No. They're crayon pushing yo-yos, and basically they're the ones behind the New World Order face. The barcode control freaks. And unfortunately, most of the population is paying for their slavery out of their own pockets through technology. They're actually getting destroyed and enslaved and encapsulated and barcoded and whatever by paying for their by actually paying for their slavery out of their own pockets through technology. Technology is a good thing, but it's not always a good thing. It's not a good thing in itself. It's like people are actually willingly doing this. Actually, if we went back to old school, real old school, let's say like the hippies did, like this would be a hippie here, to me. This would be the ideal hippie, I used to be to get all Christian on me and shit and say,
you can't show that. That's a snake. I don't like snakes. That's a devil.
Christian, right? But, let's go back to the old hippie way. The old hippie way was more like the American Indian. So if you're going to be really hardcore, that's what you really got to go back to. And we don't use the greenbacks. We don't use the electronic methods. We grow long hair like Indians. We wear moccasins. And we keep our weapons and bow and arrows and Winchester lever actions by our side. And, we don't take shit from nobody. So, I just have to state that most people are not willing to do that. That's why I like to interject a lot of other how-to videos on this channel besides just talk about silver and the Illuminati. But, I mix it up, you know what I mean? But there's people that stealing my videos, but I'm going to watch out for that shit. And actually, I'm going to tell you, anybody sees that kind of crap, let me know. Because, it's like the Federal Reserve, They just can print money and freaking steal it from you in 2 seconds flat. And that's exactly how they do it. They steal your labor by just creating electrons out of thin air. That's exactly what it is. So, beware of it all fronts.